Hello friends, it's Tonton from State 948. In today's video, we're gonna talk about just use the messages. That's a good timing. We're gonna talk about T11, HELIOS Troops, Fire Crystal Shards, like free to play, low spender, bigger spender, things like that. We're gonna talk about all of it. Yesterday we did a video about the crystal laboratory, so how to go about refining, which is kind of linked, right? These two topics are linked because that's allowing you to go to Fire Crystal 5 to 6, 7, 8, and that's allowing you to get T11, and then my suggestion is to go actually to Fire Crystal 6, 5, 7, 6, 7, 8, sorry, before you go to T11, probably even to Fire Crystal 9 at least, and 10, I'll need to look a bit more into it, but I think it might be when you are Fire Crystal 9, you might want to finish 1 or 2 HELIOS Troops and, do your Crystal, your Fire Crystal 10 at the same time. But basically, my suggestion yesterday was to how to refine and to go at the free-to-play for Fire Crystal 6, 7, 8, 9, and very likely 10. So today we're gonna talk about the shards. How do you do with Fire Crystal Shard, and how do you manage your steel, the packs to buy, so you have the commission, you have the other packs, and how to think about it, right? So if we look at the talent tree you have for the Fire Crystal research, it's you have one per troop. So marksman at the top, infantry on the right, lancers at the bottom, and they are giving you all the same stats. So these are the same trees, just for different troops. So the first one is giving you troop deployment capacity. So it's not rally capacity, it's troop deployment capacity. So that's why I would suggest everyone max it, because that's give you 1,000, per type, and it's quite cheap. So then you will get 3,000 more troops. So 3,000 more troops in Bear, in Crazy Joe, in joining Rally for Sunfire Castle. So it's a good way to have as many troops as possible on the battlefield. And then you have two branch, which one is defense, so it's health and defense, and the other one is lethality and health, right? So it's the same here, right? Health, defense, lethality, health, right? And in the middle you have rally capacity, so that's mostly for rally leaders, and this one is actually very expensive. To research all of it, is taking a bit, and we'll talk about the number in a sec. And then you have the T11 troops. But when you are done with the T11 troops, you can increase their reduced healing cost. So they're like T11 troops are costing a lot to heal and to train. So you can reduce their cost. You can reduce their training cost, so healing cost, and training time. And then the last update, they even added some stats here on the troop itself. So a bit of deployment capacity, so up to 1,000 again, up to infantry and stuff. So you see that's also why going to T11 makes little sense when Fire Crystal 8 are better. If you are Fire Crystal 5 player, it will take you as much nearly Fire Crystals to unlock T11 troops, and I'm talking just about the troops. I'm not talking about any of these. So if you unlock all the troops, it's gonna take you as many Fire Crystal to unlock Fire Crystal 8, and as we seen yesterday, looking at that picture, right, that's T11 Fire Crystal 5, that's Fire Crystal 8 T10, so the left is T11, the right is FC8, and you can see that FC8 T10 is stronger by 2 defense, by 2 health, by 1 lethality, which is nearly 10% on the important stats, right? So Fire Crystal 8 T10 are a lot stronger, and they require less to heal in time and resources and less to train, basically. So you want to go for Fire Crystal 8 troops, no question asked. So when you have the Fire Crystal, the War Academy available, you don't want to push very hard towards T11. What you want to do mostly is to exchange your extra steel every day, you can do that, for Fire Crystal Shard, but you don't want to trade your Fire Crystal for Fire Crystal Shards. And you can see you can do 200 a day. So basically, if I wanted to, you can exchange 2,000 for 200 times 13, 2,600, right? So for 2,000 Fire Crystal, you get 2,600 Fire Crystal Shards. And roughly, so let's talk about numbers. So that's the strategy first. If you don't care to understand the detail, that's all you need to know. You go for, when you reach Fire Crystal 5 and the Wartech Academy is available, you just basically exchange your steel for shards, And for me, when the Wartech Academy was available, I had 10 million. So you will basically lose some every day, but it will take you months and months to be able to go to below than a million. So I'll suggest you go, if you don't care to do T11s because you're a low spender, you can go as low to 1 million of steel, and then you wait a bit and you accumulate it, because research take I cannot see here, but research take 50k or 18k. They are quite cheap, right? And even the research here are not that expensive. If you look at some later research, they are taking 120 mil, but that's a 18-day research. So if you have 1 or 2 million, you should be good enough at any time. And if you have more speed ups, like me, for example, if you have 200 days of speed ups and you will push for research in an event, that you might want to start to accumulate. So for me, I need to stop exchanging that basically. So what you should focus on, right? If you don't go for T11, you have a few options, right? So my suggestion is to get a troop deployment capacity on all of the troops. That's the first thing. Then there will be points you will take on all trees, and there will be a troop that you work towards. So you have mostly two choices for me, two troops to work towards. Is either infantry, because that's what you will use the most. Your marches should be 50, 20, 30, or 60, 10, 30. So you will use 45, 10, 45. So you will use between 45 and 60% infantry in your rallies, right? Or in your solo march, even for event, for labyrinth, for not arena, but something to note is, like, when you unlock T11, it's unlocking T11 in labyrinth actually, and that's not a good enough reason to do. That's something I was not sure. So if you look at, where can I see battle report, right? You see my battle reports now have T11, and they used to have T10, right? So that's when I unlocked T11. So now I have T11 in the report. So that's making labyrinth a bit easier, basically. But that's a side note, what I'm thinking about it. So yeah, so what you should do, you have mostly two choices, right? Free to play, very low spender. You don't buy any packs with, low spender, I mean you are not buying any pack that give you fire crystals, or you are not buying enough fire crystal that you want to start to convert your fire crystal into fire crystal shards. And that's the only way to get fire crystal shard, by the way. It's either converting steel, or either converting fire crystals, or either buying packs. You don't get fire crystal shard in other events. So it's either you get the main stats on troops you want, so you will get some health for infantry. You might get lethality on lancers. Like, it's a bit debatable what I've done here. I mostly use these to finish, let's say I'm doing an armament competition and I have little points to do. Basically, I use these small research to get some points, right? And finish when I don't want to waste resources. But, having 3% health on lancers does not really change anything for me. It's not a really good spend either. So I understand if some people skip it, and will advise you not to do it. So basically, the main stats are health for infantry, and then lethality, right? So lethality for marksmen, lethality for lancers, and then you could go to defense for infantry, and then you could go attack for marksmen, and then attack for lancers. So that's assuming that you don't really want to go towards T11. You are like, okay, I'm gonna gain stats, I'm gonna do more damage on bear, I'm gonna make my marches a bit stronger. So you will basically go and pick the best stats point, which will be all of these. So deployment capacity, then health on infantry, then lethality on marksmen, or it could be lethality on marksmen first if you care to do more bear damage, for example, and then lethality on lancers, and then either you push for a troop to go to T11, or you get some more stats. So you kind of have a decision to make. My suggestion would still be to the second option, to push toward one of the troops, either towards marksmen or either towards infantry. Marksman will be only mostly a selfish reason. You want to do more damage in bear. In bear, you will have 80%, 70% of marksmen in your marches at the time where you have T11 available. So you want to do a lot more damage in bear and get more daily rewards. Marksmen are not used that much in rallies at that stage of the game. In defense, often you use 60-40-0, so 0% marksmen. You only use marksmen when you attack garrison, so when you attack Sunfire Castle, when you use between between 30 and 50% of marksmen. So marksmen have a lot less use. Lancers are used only on defense and rallies, Sunfire Castle and stuff. So they are not that useful. So the best choice is often very much infantry. That will be the most that will give you the biggest impact. It's not really gonna do more damage, right? It's gonna be more helpful for killing whatever, basically. Either killing some of these, either doing labyrinth and stuff like that. So if you don't push, so if you push for a troop, what you should do as a free-to-play, right? You should basically still unlock these. I'll still unlock these 3 to get more deployment capacity, to do more on Bear, more on Crazy Joe, more everywhere, basically. More deployment capacity. I think it's a really good thing to do. You'll get more points, you will rank better and everything like that. And then you just start to push, right? So you start at the bottom, you'll start with health, you will start with defense, you will start with the other one, then you will do lethality and attack. You don't have any other choice. Then you will be able to do rally capacity, and then you will be able to do T11, right? And you can do a bit of lethality on the side when you have tiny bit amount of crystal and you need to finish a research for an event, like I used to maybe skip life or health like I did, and just focus on that and get a bit. I'll focus mostly on marksman lethality at that point. I'll push towards infantry like I did. I'll skip that. That was the mistake I've made, and then I'll skip even a bit lancers lethality, and I'll do a tiny bit of health of marksman lethality. And I'll push toward the troop. But you have to understand, there are a few things to understand. That's very expensive. The T11 research itself, is 49 days, is 1 million steel. It's 2,200 fire shards, right? So as you can see, it's really, really expensive. And if you look at this one, it looks not that expensive, right? But the Flame Legion, you cannot really see it in game, but the research for Flame Legion gets very, very expensive. And basically how much you need to unlock one troop, and by one troop I don't mean the improvements, is 13k shards, so that's 10k fire crystals. So to unlock T11, infantry, you need 10k fire crystals. And that's, to max that out, it's another 10k fire crystals. So to max a troop is 20k fire crystal. To max a troop, so if you unlock all T11, that's gonna be, 30k fire crystal, and that's how much it takes to go from Fire Crystal 5 to Fire Crystal 8. It's gonna take you 35k fire crystals. So it's gonna take more or less the same, plus you will have better troops, basically. So that's why you want to go toward Fire Crystal 8. Something to understand as well is, if you push towards T11, you will need to use a lot of research speed-ups. Because, these start to be, can I show you some? Because I don't have any maxed, but these look very quick to upgrade, right? It's like, 1 day, 13 hours, but then, they start to take 3, 4, 5 days. That one's take 4, if you do T11 with the title plus 10% buff and stuff, for me it was still above 40 days, right, to do it. So you're gonna need a lot of research speed-ups, and it will be better to go on top of having better troops, right, with Fire Crystal 8, to use your research speed-up on your research center, because you will be far from being maxed. If you are a tiny spender or if you are free to play, you will already be far from being maxed. Even me, after a year and a half, and buying some pack that give me general speed that I'm only using on research, I'm far from being maxed. There are many things I'm not maxed yet. So, but that's why as well I think you should go towards Fire Crystal 8 and 9 instead of that. But slowly go there. It will take you over a year from the day you have the Fire Crystal, the War Academy. Then you will be able to go towards T11, right? So that's why there is no rush. Take your time, redeem some of your steel, and that's gonna work very well for you, basically. Just to give you a quick example, I'll show you Discord again, but that's a quick math I've done. So that's the cost in terms of steel and fire crystal that you need to unlock all troops, right? So one troop of T11, you need 13,000 shards, 13,421, plus you need 4 million steel, and that's gonna be 10,324 fire crystal. Or someone else done that, actually. I won't take credit of things I didn't do. Someone else done that somewhere. If you do all the troop, it's gonna be 40k fire crystal shards, so that's gonna be 31k fire crystal plus 12 million steel. So whales pushing for this very early, they are buying steel, and steel is super expensive. That's one of the reasons why you don't want to push too hard as well, is like steel is super expensive. And these are the extra research, right? So by what I mean by the extra research is the healing cost reduction, training cost reduction, and healing time reduction. And if you do them maxed, that's another, it's even more expensive, right? You see, it's nearly 14K plus 4 million steel as well. So basically, in total, it's gonna cost you 63K fire crystal that you will have to convert in fire crystal shard plus 24 million steel. So that's crazy. That's really crazy expensive. And I'm not adding the amount of speed up, but it's probably 150 days or 200 days of speed up that you could rather use on your research. So that's one thing to take into account. So that's the strategy for free to play. That's the strategy for low spender, basically. And that's kind of, this changed a bit now because they added the commissions. And commission, some of it is free to play and some of it is low spender, right? So if I look at the commission, what you have to, it's a weekly event. And you can buy a pack to make it a bit faster, right? But you get all of that daily on the left, right? So you are getting lore point, which is giving that. So, you know, it's 27 shards plus 40. So it's 67 shards per week for free, plus 40 steel. Plus you get a bit more shard here. So, you know, it's 13 per task. So you get 8 tasks. So I calculated that somewhere. Free to play, you get 117 fire crystal shard per week. Plus you get 40k steel, right? So basically, that will make you be able, it's more or less doubling the amount of fire crystal shard you will have compared to before. We used to only have that, right? Every day for free to play. But now they added that, you kind of get double the shard. So if you have the fire, I'm not sure how it works on new states, if you have the commission right away or if commission are unlocked later. If you have the commission right away when you have the War Academy, it's actually gonna take you less than a year to do one troop, because it was like a year and a half-ish, for example, to do one troop before for free to play. It depends a bit on your exchange rate, so, and your income of steel, by the way, depends on your exploration level, right? You can see that you get a amount of steel per hour, and the more level you do, the higher it is. So that's why you want to push your exploration level very early on. So it's gonna take a bit less than a year now with the commission. So that's a really great addition, and they have done that like maybe a month and a half ago, right? So that's gonna speed you up a bit. So now let's talk about maybe one more thing for free to play low spender. So not buying any of these packs, right? Not buying any fire crystal shards. When you unlock T11, should you do a bit of that? I'm very much hesitating. I think I'll do 2 or 3 levels. I'll do maybe 3 levels, so I get a bit of reduction of, you know, healing cost, training cost, and everything, because that will give me some stat, and that's not too expensive for the level of spending I do in terms of fire crystal shards, but that start to be a lot, right? If I do that, you know, if I do that 3 times, it's gonna be 1,000 fire crystal shard, or, you know, maybe a bit more. So it's nearly 10% of what I need to unlock a new troop, and I think I'd rather unlock a new troop. So I did 1 level here. I might actually skip it, and I'm actually rush towards marksman, rush toward lancer, and then I'll start to do some levels here, and I will see how I manage healing during SVS, and I will see how I manage training, and if I really struggle a bit, because I'm not buying that much with money, because, you know, like T11 are hard to maintain for resources unless you are spending a lot. That's why as well you don't want to go there too quick with a free to play, and particularly not go there with your farm, for example. You know, just take your time and increase stats and stuff. So probably skip these, or do 1 or 2 level to reduce like 10% of stuff, and then go to the next thing. And basically right now in 2 years and a half, something like that, you will be able to get to all the troops as a free to play, 100% free to play. So, what are the options as a spender? If you are a low spender to big spender, right? You will have, I'm not talking about too much about big spender here, because like it really depends how fast you want to get to unlock them, and if you want them very quick, you're gonna need to buy a lot of steel, and it's gonna be crazy expensive. But the good thing they have done is they made that commission available for, and that's a weekly pack, 12 euro every week, so that's not a small commitment, you know, every year. If you calculate, you know, 12 times 52, 12 times 52, right? It's 600 euro a year to buy that every week. And what it is giving you, I made some calculations, so you know it's all on Discord. By the way, guys, I started to work on, if you look, can you see? No, you cannot see. Let me move a bit, right? You see? you see here? I started to work on the Discord for us, guys, so gonna take me a while. I need to learn how to set it up properly. I need to copy paste a lot of the guide I've made and everything. But if you look at that part of the guide, that's the commission for spender. So you basically get the same thing as free to play. So yeah, it's actually 184 per week for free to play because you get, you know, some of these plus you get all of these, right? So all of these is 117 plus these is 184 per week. So that's why it's doubling nearly the amount you get. So for spenders, you will get that, of course, but then you will get an extra. Again, you know, it's 13 per day plus 6,000 or 12,000. So you will get an extra 60k steel per week plus, you know, an extra 117 fire crystal shards, right? So it's actually quite a lot. So in total, you will get per week 500 fire crystal shards plus 130k steel. So the extra per week is basically that, right? 317 fire crystal shard and 9k of crystal shield. So that's basically, if you think about the amount of fire crystal shard you get here, it's 13,000 to get a fire crystal troop level. So that's 26 weeks. So that means that's twice a year. But that's not actually the best option, right? We're gonna compare with the new updated weekly card. That's actually better for your money. So if you are actually a free-to-play, and that's less obvious, but that's if you are a spender, medium to low spender, that pack is actually better, and that's 5,000%. The other one is 4,600 something. And if you count what you are having, right? If you calculate all of that plus that, and you see that the only one I'm buying, you will basically get that, right? So you get 26 times 8 is because you get 26 when you buy plus 26 per day. So that's 208 fire crystal shards plus you get 105k steel for $5. So the other one is $10. Let's speak in dollar, and you get extra for $10. You get 317 fire crystal and 90k steel extra compared to free to play. And here for $5 you get 208. So, you know, you get 50% more for your money, basically, and more steel. So for $5 per week, basically, you get a bit more steel with that pack, and you get 2/3 of the fire crystal shard. So if you buy one pack weekly, that should be that one, and that, you know, gonna do you 208 per week, 52, it's gonna be 10,000. So, you know, if you spend a bit plus you convert some of your fire crystals, that's gonna help you to get a troop in 1 year, basically, with converting a bit of fire crystal. So if you take into account that you're gonna convert more or less my calculation, right? And, you know, some other people calculated it as well. It's not only me, but if you basically buy that pack for weekly, so, you know, it's a bit below 300 euro a year. So that's, you know, that's a budget in a game if you consider about it. Plus you get the commission, right, for free. Plus you exchange a bit of your steel. And what you will see is, like, at my level of exploration, right? So a bit below 500 plus the weekly card. Plus the commission, and I don't buy the commission packs, I'm actually stable and increasing my steel a tiny bit, right? I'm gonna destroy my steel because I'm gonna spend 250 days of research speed up. But if I accumulate speed ups and I'm not using any speed ups, I'm just doing research naturally, I'm collecting a bit more steel every day that I'm using to convert. But that's not true if you start to use speed ups for research. I'll miss steel actually. So that will mean that roughly you can get in a year, you can get two troops out of 3 with a tiny bit. Maybe you will need to exchange a few thousand of your fire crystals. But, you know, if you are willing to spend 300 euro on that card, you probably, you know, buying other pack with fire crystal shard or packs during seasonal event, and you get enough fire crystal to kind of stay to not to lag behind too much in terms of fire crystal level. So that will help you to get 2 troops within a year. Then if you start to buy all the packs, you're gonna get, you know, without buying packs actually, if you buy the weekly card, you're gonna get a lot more. So that's kind of that calculation, right? For medium spender, if you buy the weekly card plus the new expert member pack, which is the commission pack, you will get weekly 709 fire crystal shards, which mean 36,000 fire crystal shards per year, right? And you need 40k fire crystal shard to get all the 3 troops. So that buying these 2 packs basically allow you in 1 year, and that's gonna cost you roughly less than 1,000 euro. That's gonna allow you to get all the 3 troops in 1 year, which will be able to spread it nicely, basically over the couple of months in terms of research time. So your research time, you won't have to use too many speed ups, because you will be able, for me, this one I did not use any speed ups on it, right? I let it for 40 days, and over 360 days you will be able to slowly do that. You just need to do a research regularly. As soon as there is an event that's allowing you to get points for fire crystal shard, you will likely need to use it. But in 1 year, you will be able to get for less than 1,000 euro all the T11, which it's a very good amount of money for many people, but for medium spender it's not that much. Like, it was taking thousands and thousands of euros for people that unlock it quickly. So if you unlock it in the first month or two, between the fire crystal you can buy when you are in Gen 5, which or not Gen 5 but FC5, which are a bit expensive, right? Fire crystal get cheaper as the stage are aging. Like for us, that weekly card, basically your weekly card might not be as good, so you will need to compare your weekly card with the commission pack. There is a chance that in Gen 5 or 6 the weekly card is actually not as good as the commission. The commission might be better, but as soon as that pack goes to 5,000%, it's actually better. And because that's a very new addition to the game, like that's a month old, we have that for about a month and a half maybe, I don't really know how it is on a new state that just get Wartech. So you can let me know actually for you if that pack is not as good as the commission. For us, it's actually better, and by quite a bit. So if you buy that, that will really help you. So more or less free to play. Nowadays with the commission, it's a bit less than a year to get a troop, or it will take you a year. You buy one of the pack, it's gonna 2 troops a year. You buy one of the weekly card, and you buy the commission, it's gonna be 3 troops in a year. That's kind of more or less your time frame, and I think that's a good base to work with. What else do I want to say about that? I'm just looking quickly at my note, but I think that's really the essential part of it. So let's talk a bit about steel, because steel does not look like an issue, because again, when you unlock Fire Crystal War Academy, you might get 6 to 10 million steel based on your progression, the amount of speed up you spend on research, your progression in exploration. So if you are a whale and you have a lot of money, I will actually never convert steel to fire crystal shards. And if you are a whale and you think otherwise, please let me know in the comment. But I think that's a smart move, because the steel is a lot more expensive to buy than the fire crystal shards. So if you convert your steel for fire crystal shard, it will basically just cost you more. You're gonna spend more money to do the same thing, because as a reminder, to do all of these, you're gonna need what was it? How many million steel was it? It was 24 million steel, right? So it's 12 million to do the troops plus 12 million to do the improvements, right? So that's 24 million steel. And, maybe at the whale you have I don't think you have 12 million steel at the whale, because the issue for whales is they are using so many speed ups on research that often they struggle with steel even before they have the War Academy available. So steel is gonna be a big deal. And for whales, if we talk about steel for a minute, you can get some into Draw Trading Station. You can get them now in the commission, right? And that's actually cheap, decently cheap steel. You can get some. It's actually very rare that you can get steel. Some events give it to you. You can get some from here, of course, right? But otherwise, most of the steel you have to buy is coming from that pack that is terrible. And you have 1 or 2 packs that are terrible as well, basically. Steel is always terrible to buy. In seasonal events, when you can buy steel, they are terrible to buy. These are months... they are still not monthly pack. I thought they were monthly pack, but they are maybe bi-weekly pack. So every 2 weeks or something like that. They reset very slowly. So you can buy that out, but you see, like... You need you need how much? 24 million steel, and that's 6 euro, you get 40k. So let's just have a laugh. Let's say you need 24 million divided by 40k divided by 5 euro. No, multiplied by okay. So let's go back to that. So that was 600 multiplied by 6 euro. So to buy the steel from that, if you don't get, it's like nearly 4,000 euros for us, just to buy the steel without the fire crystal pack. So it's crazy. It's a crazy amount of money. So you really want to take care of your steel if you're a whale. So there is basically exploration, using it on the research you need basically, and then never trading it for that. And if one day I'm running out of steel, I'll just wait for my steel to get back, and I'll stop converting, and I'll keep my research going, and I'll start a long research that require, there are many research that, take a tiny bit of, you can have, for 50k, you can be good for 6 days, and you make, how much I make every, so roughly, right, I made calculation in the past about how much steel you get per day, but let's say you get 3,000 times 24, it's actually 3,000 times 24. It's, you get 50, 60, 70. For me, 24, I get 84k a day. So basically, if you start a 50, 60k steel research for a week, you're gonna make 7 times that, more or less. So you're gonna slowly ramp up steel and gain steel every day. That's why you are losing steel basically. Here, converting here is like 5k times 20. You can convert 5k 20 times a day, so you'll get 20 of these, right? So you're gonna lose 100k of steel every day, plus you're gonna win, you're gonna earn naturally 70, 80k steel if you are good in exploration. So that's why you are losing a bit every day, plus you're gonna use some on research. So the commission will basically kind of make up for that, right? Because you're gonna get some here, and for me, you're gonna get some, I need the weekly card to kind of be stable. So yeah, that's really it, guys. I'm just looking at my notes one more time and then my guide one more time, but I think that's really it. You get the priority, you get what to do, you get the information about the pack, which one is the best. You just have to think about, if you're a new state and you just get the building, just verify the value of packs and let me know in the comment if actually commission is better or if the weekly card is better. So just so I put a pinned comment about that with people that are on newer states so they can actually verify. This pack is terrible, by the way. That's 30, and people used to only have that before a month and a half ago, right? People only had that pack to buy, and that's, a bit of it. So right now, okay, you have some research speed up, but right now for that amount of money, for 6 euro, you get 208 of these instead of 30. And you get 100k steel instead of 10k. So you get 7 times the amount of shards, and you get 10 times the amount of steel, but you don't get the training speed ups, right? That's the only issue, you don't get that. So these packs are terrible value, and often there is no way, no reason to buy these packs except a very few exceptions, but we can talk about that in another video. Thank you very much guys for watching. I try to see you tomorrow for Canyon. I'll schedule a live stream, but we have a birthday party. And we don't know when it ends. We have some cleaning to do in the Airbnb in the house for the next guest. So yeah, so I'll see, but I'll schedule it. I'll plan to do it. And if you don't see me on, it's just real life busy. Everything is okay. And else I'll see you on Foundry as well Sunday for a live stream. And we will come back next week for more guides and more videos. So see you on the live stream. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend. Cheers. Bye bye.